Financial literacy in the honest money world is absolutely a core value of ours. I think it's the reason that that my partners and I in honest money got going on this. We feel financial education, financial literacy is such a desperate need, both in South Africa but actually around the world. And so today, we're going to be talking about financial literacy and also about how we can try and get more financial education into the hands and ears and brains of our listeners and of South Africans. So I'm really chuffed to be talking to Higgo van Biljon, who is the founder of FinMeUp. Higgo, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's an honor to be here.
So Higgo, I don't want to steal your thunder and mess up the explanation of FinMeUp. So perhaps you can kick off and tell us what FinMeUp's about, and then I'll tell our listeners why I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, sure. So our mission is to clear the way to financial freedom for Africa. So it's quite a big statement. And we believe, in education at the core. So that's how the whole idea started. That's where my passion lies and how the idea of FinMeUp actually came. But essentially, that's our mission. And we focus on education at its core by focusing on curated information, because the internet is so full of information everywhere. So we focus on curated information and we focus on community. So essentially on the FinMeUp app, there's various industry experts that we call mentors on the platform, and they create various forms of content. Later on, we'll introduce different or more additional features for the mentors to also interact with the community. But I mean, that's if you are a FinMeUp user, you can go onto the app any day and you'll be able to find new informational and educational content in the financial industry. And we also have various partnerships where we link the education to the execution. So that's basically what we do in a nutshell.
So I think I want to talk about this curated content for a second, because especially for me, I mean, I'm not a social media expert, but I am on Twitter quite a bit, and one of the things that really bothers me on Twitter is people out there who've got no clue about money, but they kind of change their title on Twitter to financial influencer. And then they start, spewing the biggest load of garbage, and they actually, because they're spewing garbage that sells false hope and false speedy ways to get rich, etc. They get quite big followings, and so when you say curated content, maybe just expand on that. Is that exactly what you're trying to avoid? How do you make the call to give someone a kind of airtime on the platform, as opposed to some idiot out there who's just trying to make themselves rich?
Yeah, so there's many thought processes behind this curation. So the first one is curating the mentors, and the second aspect is making sure there's not too much information on the platform, but also from trusted sources. So just to simplify that, the first one with the mentors is currently on the app, there's various, what we call industry experts. Once again, on the FinMeUp app, we call them mentors. And that includes names like Simon Brown, Sol Financial, Keith McLaughlin, Jordan L, and quite a list of other mentors who are, we actually, through our curation process and vetting process, they made the qualifications of what we classify as a mentor. So that's the first part, getting the right mentors on the platform. And I know soon, that excitement will come later in this podcast, but that's the first part. The second part is also with content. We can't have, so obviously there's a lot of people in the financial industry. Many of them have chartered accountancy degrees, actuary degrees, other BCom degrees, and the list goes on. So there's many individuals with lots of content. The second aspect is they need to be able to know how to produce that content so that it is, in an educational, informational content format, and that there's not too much content. Because what we saw, so just backtracking a bit, FinMeUp app launched basically from a WhatsApp group that I created in 2019, where the idea of an app came, and developed that app, launched an MVP app, which we developed in India. And we tried various features. There were calculators, there was a fantasy game for shares, there was podcasts, there was stock picks, there was quizzes, there was long format courses, which we called FinMeUni. And we tried so many features to just try and pinpoint exactly how do we need to solve this big education problem. And through learning those various hard lessons, it all boiled down to this new FinMeUp app, which is this short format curated content. So that was just part of the second aspect. So the first one was the mentors. The second one was content that is easy consumable. And that is basically what we call now the Instagram of finances on FinMeUp. So making sure you get trusted information from vetted industry experts in an easy to consume content format with not too much content being consumed every day. So currently a FinMeUp app user spends around 13 to 14 minutes a day on the app. And that's all that's necessary to stay updated in the financial markets, to learn something new about finances, and so on. So, that's all required. Small efforts every day goes a long way.
I like that. So for me, the two things I'm taking out of this so far is that if someone is called a mentor on the FinMeUp app, what that means is that your team have checked out who these mentors are. You've checked out what they've done in the past, so that if they're putting content on there, it might not be perfect. I mean, we all know if you talk about a share and you say buy the share, it's not a guarantee that share will go up, but at least the person that's doing it is doing it from an ethical base and a base of knowledge. So I like that. And I think secondly, that the content should be approachable for anybody of any kind of financial background. It's not designed for people that have got a master's in finance. This is about financial literacy. This is about educating people from the ground up about how markets work, how personal finance works, if that's the kind of takeout from this.
Yeah, spot on. And also, so we are busy working. So we'll continuously look for ways to improve the platform and just add more and more value with either added functionalities or whatever. And one of the things we are working on now is, being able to filter between the different personas of our user base. So some users want the very basic beginner content of just, what is investing? How do you start investing? And all of that. So where some people want just, the research, the bulk research of maybe the financials of Google's recent financial results. So there's a different mix of people, and some people come for investing content, some people come for general financial content. So it's also our responsibility to make that filter easy accessible as possible. But spot on with how we view the mentors and how we approach them. And some apply, then we go through that curation process. Some we reach out to. So there's a lot of focus going into that and a lot of work, but also into the platform. So yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot, and I know you're excited like I'm about this. So you nearly stole my thunder. But I guess if you're listening to this podcast, you're also gathering that if it's something I believe in, then Honest Money should be one of those mentors. So we will be joining FinMeUp as one of the kind of area experts, I guess, and look out in the weeks and months ahead for our content that we'll be putting on FinMeUp and sharing with our listeners as well. So I'm very excited about that. I think it's a great initiative to kind of spread the word as much as possible. As you say, you've got a huge goal, a financial freedom for Africa. That's not small as an aspiration, and I like it. I always think if you aim for Everest and you climb Kilimanjaro, you've done a lot better than someone sitting on the couch. So I think a big goal is a great goal. If you achieve it, well done. It'll probably be after my lifetime, but that would be amazing to be part of that journey.
Yeah, no, first of all, we are very excited to have you as one of the mentors on FinMeUp app. We believe you're going to add a lot of value to the platform. So it's awesome for you. It's awesome for us, and it's awesome for our community. So stay tuned for that. And, we have some big plans for Africa, like you said, but rather dream big than small. And we are chasing this vision, and we really hope to, add as much value as we can every day in our users' life. So, it's, I think, just to add a bit more on the functionalities is what you see now on the platform is still very early of how we aim to achieve this big mission. And it's still early days, but I mean, we work every day towards that goal, even the small stuff. So if you are a user, something we add for free every day is daily stock market highlights. And a user can, in a few seconds, be updated with all the financial markets in the US and in South Africa. And one thing we've seen in the rest of Africa as well is more and more accessibility to markets are now being given. So, for example, in Nigeria, in Kenya, they are able to trade and invest in US markets. So that's the one side. The other side is the general financial education. The other side is, connecting our users with the right execution platform. So there's so many things going into this big mission, and one step at a time.
Absolutely, and I think that's also the key to financial freedom. Is it's not done in one leap. It's done in thousands and thousands of small steps every single day, where you manage your behavior, you let your money grow, and so I think it's the same for a big goal like this. Is it's going to be lots and lots of small steps, and as long as we're moving in the right direction, I think that's the key to a successful financial plan and also a successful business.
Exactly, spot on.
So when we kick off on this, we'll certainly be sharing our ideas and our content on there as well, and you'll be sharing that with your community. What are kind of some of the things that people are looking at the moment? You were saying you sort of tried the fantasy share picking, which I suppose is like a fantasy football league or something. Did that not get a lot of traction in the communities?
Yeah, so it's tricky sometimes. Like a different story is I also release music. I love writing songs, and I release it on Apple Music and Spotify and everywhere. So sometimes before you release a song, you think this song is just going to perform amazing, and then you release a song and it's quite disappointing. The radio doesn't take it up that often, and the streams are low. And then other times you release a feature or a song where you think it's good, but let's see how it goes, and then it does well. So the same happened with testing all these assumptions for FinMeUp. The fantasy league, we thought we really need gamification, and now we know our thought of gamification was wrong. But that's how you learn. And so one of the takeaways was, why would someone play a fantasy league with fake money in shares if they can just do it with real money? And that's the assumption we got wrong. And there was a few other features where we had assumptions. Some of our assumptions were proven correct, and some of our assumptions were proven wrong. But that's how we learn. And it's building a business takes a lot of failures, and it takes time, and it also takes some successes and some lucky breakthroughs. So we took what worked and removed what didn't work. So the fantasy league was just one of those ideas, a big idea that it just wasn't right. But like once I said, that's how we learn. And now we have different ideas for gamification, and we're definitely approaching it differently this time. But yeah, that's just on that.
It's actually a very nice entrepreneurial lesson as well for our listeners. Is in this world, where you're dealing with a pure online business, it's not a bad idea to experiment, and I think you can always make. It's hard to call it a mistake if you're trying something and you want to test the market and try and help people. I always think you can make lots of mistakes if you make them for the right reasons. And if your ethics are right and your morals are right, people will understand if something doesn't work out. And that's a great lesson for entrepreneurs. Is just don't be afraid to kind of stop something if it's not working out. But don't start something from the wrong ethics. If you're just out there to kind of nail people just for yourself and make money just for yourself, you will very quickly be found out, and people don't forgive those mistakes. But certainly, in the online world, they always talk about fail fast, and I think it's interesting to see, because I've got lots of thoughts of financial literacy and financial education. Lots of parents always say to me, it's something that should be in the schools. But I've done lots of talks to schools and universities, and I find very few people in the audience. In the days when we could stand in front of big audiences, very few people were actually engaged. It might be what adults and what older people feel is important, but when you're 16 years old, there's lots more important stuff than saving and budgeting. I'm not saying that's true, but that's my experience of talking to audiences. So I think it's important to find ways to get that content to all groups of people, all age groups, but also in a way that lands for them. And I think you can only experiment to find those. I don't think anyone's got the golden key to talk to everyone all the time.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, the bigger the opportunity, or the bigger the problem, the bigger opportunity. But as we know, globally, financial literacy is something that is under taught, especially in schools. Because I remember I fell in love with investing and everything finances, even in primary school already. And I started investing in the JSE in grade 7. And I remember just, wondering in high school, why do I have to learn all these, science and geography and all these subjects and nothing about financial literacy? The closest thing I got was accounting. But that doesn't teach us the basics of, money and personal finance, and how do you accumulate wealth and how do you grow that wealth? So that's also one of the big reasons why we struggle with this. It's not taught at an early age, and then it's not really taught in a median age, and it's also not taught in any age. And most people learn the hard way, and that's one thing we also hope to address. So we have a few ideas, and maybe we should talk afterwards, but regarding FinMeUp Kids and getting into users at a young age to make sure that we solve this.
I agree. I think it's amazing that you were already in this at grade 7. I think it must have been very unusual around your friends when you started to talk to them about this stuff. They're probably wondering why you weren't talking about sport.
I was talking about sport as well.
So I think for our listeners out there, have a look. It's called FinMeUp. FinMeUp. It's an app. It's also on. You could also download that app off their website as well. I'm very comfortable to be associated with it. In fact, I'm very excited about it. I think it absolutely resonates with honest money and what we're trying to do. So Higgo van Biljon, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to working together in the months and years ahead.
Yeah, same likewise. Can't have to have you on the app, and users, you can be really excited for this. Another great addition to the Mentor Network.
Thank you for listening to Honest Money. If you have any questions, you're welcome to reach out to me on Twitter. My handle is @Warren Ingram. Don't forget to subscribe. We're on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Chat soon.